I said good day, sir.
You don't ever plan anything around the Eagles because the Eagles represent the grace of God,
Okay.
you heathen bastards.
What a vanilla nebbish name.
Well, you know, orcs are people too.
I'm thinking of that one cult that got taken out with one punch. So he's got a wall,
Okay.
a gall, and a wall. Every time you mention the Eagles, I think Don Henley. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a 43-year-old world history teacher in Northern California, and I have been a nerd as long as I can remember, starting with being introduced to Dungeons & Dragons a couple of years younger than the rule books actually said I was supposed to be. They indicated for ages 12 and up, and I was 9, if I recall. How about you?
I'm Damian Harmony. I'm a Latin teacher and also a returning history teacher because districts...
Welcome back to the fraternity.
Oh, a lot's changed, apparently, both in our history as well as in the curriculum. But I've been a geek most of my life as well. I can think back to one of my first books is the Look It Up book of U.S. presidents.
Ah, yes.
So it stopped with Reagan. That's how old I am. I'm
that's how long ago, yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right.
And I have handwritten under each president listed whether they were corrupt, neutral, or decent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you were experimenting with alignment even then.
Even then.
Nice. Nice.
So,
all right.
We've got a doozy this week because
yes.
we are touching on something we both love.
Okay.
Racism.
Great. Great. Something, one of those things that you love to hate.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're touching on the X-Men, actually.
Yes, which is something we legitimately love.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I already know where. I mean, clearly, I'm pretty sure I already know where this is going. But where do you want to start with this? Because this is going to be a big one.
I want to take it chronologically. I think that's probably the best way. And I think because when we do it chronologically, because of our history as a country, it's going to be thematic as well. You're going to see a shift
in the specific issues,
and
being
the social justice being looked at, shifting as
time goes
shift.
on.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll start us off in the 1960s.
Okay.
So X-Men was first published in 1963.
All right.
This was 1 year after the Fantastic Four got published.
Yes.
That was a superhero family.
Yeah.
This was 1 year after the Hulk got published, who is a superhero who is severely misunderstood and ultimately just wants to be left alone.
Yeah, there was a very James Dean kind of rebel without a cause. Just everybody, you're tearing me apart.
Exactly.
Kind of vibe in the first few issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before some of the tropes in that one really solidified.
True, and before they figured out what ink they were going to use to color him.
Yeah.
So you know that story, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I know that he started out gray,
and they couldn't get the mix right, and on the very last page of like one of the things, it was green, and they're like, "That's the one."
There you go. Whatever that was.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the poor schmuck printer's apprentice?
Yeah.
Who was working on that? Like, I did that by mistake. You mean I've got to go back,
figure out
and
how
remix? How the man? Yeah.
My stepdad loves that story. This is also a year after Thor and Spider-Man were introduced.
Okay.
Thor is a man who is literally a world apart.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is a teenager who had teenage problems.
Yeah.
And he was coming into his own as a hero as well. So, which was different. Most people were absolute.
Yeah, well, and prior to these kinds of storylines, when we're talking about 3-color superhero comics, we're talking about a history that's dominated by Superman.
Yeah.
The example of the genre. And then Batman, who are these very arch, very, very melodramatic and very the phrase that comes to mind is cookie cutter, but they are these
archetypical.
They're archetypical. There you go. Yeah, they're archetypical figures. Whereas what all of these characters have in common is this is like the introduction of Hamlet into comic books. Hamlet is the first example, speaking as an English teacher. Hamlet is widely regarded, and it's always taught, of course, as being the first example of a protagonist truly having an inner life.
Yeah.
And,
that's a good way to put it.
The development of actual character development,
right?
In a protagonist, in particularly a revenge story.
Yeah, and he's different by the time. Spoiler alert: he dies at the end.
Yeah.
But he's a different person.
It's tragedy, so of course everybody dies.
But he's a different person.
You die. The girl dies. Everybody dies.
But he's a different person from start to finish, and you're absolutely right. I think in many ways, comic books up until that point had been, first off, there was a lot of one-offs. There was a lot of, I want to try this genre, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then the Comic Code Authority comes in and just cuts all that out.
Yeah.
Check our previous episodes.
Yeah.
Very
beginning of the canon, ladies and gentlemen.
As it were. But I think that at the end of it all, the superhero genre was still stuck in a 1930s melodrama pulp kind of milieu.
Yeah.
And Marvel was not competing well with DC in doing that, so they went this other way. I have no evidence that was we need to do this. There's no smoking gun for that, but it seems to be a big shift because you also have two characters, Iron Man and the Wasp, who come out the same year as the X-Men. And they are people who were heroes by virtue of their choices and how they interacted with their own technology. And the Wasp was a pill popper.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, back up.
Yeah.
Back the truck up.
So her and Henry Pym, Ant-Man, they got their big and
jackass.
Not till later.
I know.
He's just wife ignoring.
Still,
girlfriend ignoring.
Yeah, well, him and Reed get along famously. Like best pals.
So Sue and Janet form a codependent club.
Okay.
No, the original Pym particles were in pill form.
Oh,
and it's the early 1960s. What else is in pill form just recently?
Mother's Little Helper?
Yeah, that too. Also the thing that helps you not be a little mother.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yes.
And in 1966, it becomes legal for anybody to obtain it. You don't need...
See, I was going to go with Dexedrine. But,
also true. Yeah. But like everything's coming out in pills.
Carried, Green Beret medics, it should be pointed out, carried, 100 pills, for keeping patrols awake long enough to
So, but she was a pill popper for her power. Which is a technology at the time.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing. And Tony Stark didn't quite have transistors yet. He literally had a ungrounded prong plug to plug into the wall
to recharge the armor. Yeah,
it's also the first year that the Avengers teamed up. Almost in exactly the same month. They're within a month.
Really?
Of each other. Yeah.
Okay. This is Thor and Iron Man and all those guys show up in their own series, and then immediately get thrown into
a team up
book.
Yeah.
Huh. They really were trying to do everything they could to get every issue sold that they could
get. The spaghetti on the wall. Like, hey, did you cook it? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Something will stick.
It's it'll either be al dente or it'll shatter. We don't care. Something's got to happen. Okay.
Yeah. So this is also 1963, 3 years after the counter sit-ins.
Okay. Yes.
It's too much to go into there, but that really was one of the first eye-catching demonstrations of resistance and opposition to oppression by young people.
Yeah. It was one of the first times that news of those civil rights actions got outside of whatever community it was they were taking place in. It was the beginnings of the mass media picking up the civil rights movement as a movement.
Right. Yeah. This is 2 years before the Freedom Rides.
Yeah.
Freedom Rides, I'll go into a little bit. It's so the Freedom Rides were white and black civil rights activists making sure that buses that ran across state lines were desegregated because there was I'll get to it in a second. Their
Free
depots,
Commerce Clause?
Yeah. Boynton versus Virginia in 1960 stated that if you had a business that went across the states, within the state, it's still, we're having a hard time trying to figure out how to get you to not be shitty. But going
across state lines, that's clear federal authority, and we can clearly tell you knock that shit right the hell off. Okay.
And so that also include their depots. because a depot is still part
of the process of whatever it is you're in the midst of doing. Okay.
So they're both subject to federal law as a result. And like I said, the South was ignoring Boynton versus Virginia in 1960. And the federal government just looked the other way. They didn't do much to enforce it. Again,
yeah,
I have a lot of praise for Eisenhower. This is not amongst it.
Well, no. This is one of the places where Eisenhower
fell
dropped
down
the
famously.
ball. Yeah.
Young people had to take matters into their own hands, quite honestly, because the elders, the trusted elders who run things, weren't. And they actually had to make the change that the government was supposed to be making. When they did this, white mobs burned the buses. They beat the Freedom Riders severely. Federal government threatened action, but didn't follow through much.
Yeah.
It's as though there was this invisible set of rules allowing these things to occur. And the only thing that could stop it was young students acting as catalysts and being willing to face the violence of dominant society. You also start to see Martin Luther King stepping in at this time. Some would say he was taking over, and they would say it was some chagrin. And he was asking black activists to stand down from time to time, too.
To focus on what are the fights that we can win?
Kind of, yeah. And
what are the fights that we can try to get better coverage on?
Yeah, and also
more visibility.
Let's get them focused on our method and our message of that peaceful resistance.
Okay.
There's also a level of compromise going on within the civil rights movement that's burgeoning at the time, recognizing that you need constant confrontation. And even though it's righteous and morally valid, it was not as effective as it was appearing less so because of confrontation. So you have this movement toward, no, we all need to show our best selves. And some people are like, well, how dare you judge my best self? I've been here a while. What are you doing?
Oh, okay.
But he's talking about the effectiveness of this and how white society will dominant society, mostly white society, will just blame you for causing a conflict instead of looking at why people are trying to hit you.
Yeah.
And if you aren't striking back, it's a lot harder for them to hide behind that and say, well, if they just didn't. Because they just didn't.
Yeah.
And they still got clubbed on the head.
And they still got beaten up and attacked with dogs.
Yeah. Kennedy actually condemns the Freedom Rides as unpatriotic. Yeah.
Kennedy.
Because it made us look bad in the Cold War.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
And he's a Cold Warrior. And,
the trope codifier of Cold Warrior, in terms of presidents.
Yes, he embodied it.
Yeah, Eisenhower was the first Cold Warrior in a lot of ways, but Kennedy was the embodiment, as you said, the embodiment, standard bearer of what that had become and then continued to be. Yeah,
and because he embodied this fight for the rest of the world's freedom, it was very embarrassing for America to not have freedom at home. So could you just shut up with the not freedom part?
Can you we'll work on this, but for now, you know.
Well, maybe we'll work on this. There's no real promise there.
Yeah.
But the students essentially told him to stuff it, by the way. 1963 is also the year after James Meredith gets barred from the University of Mississippi. James Meredith was a veteran, I always like to point that out, who, inspired by JFK, decided he wanted to pursue a degree from the University of Mississippi, making the very obvious to us now argument that any American had the right to attend any university that received funding from taxpayers.
Yes, to us nowadays.
Exactly.
Really? This is an argument.
Yeah.
Why do we even have to argue this?
Yeah, he got turned down twice. And he got the NAACP to back his case when he was rejected, saying that they'd rejected him only because of his race, which flew in the face of Brown versus Board, which was less than a decade old.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, desegregate the schools. I'm trying to go to a school. It's receiving federal monies, taxpayer monies, state taxpayer monies. It's receiving monies from us. This is not a private university.
Yeah.
Therefore, how come they get to? It goes to the state appellate court in Mississippi, which actually ruled in favor of actual justice over prejudice, which stunned me.
All right.
The state then sued to get it up to the Supreme Court because no just deed goes unpunished. And the Supreme Court also ruled in favor of justice over prejudice. They upheld the appellate court's ruling.
Yay.
So he got to go.
Yeah.
Except that he didn't get to go yet. The governor of Mississippi, a man named Ross Barnett.
Okay.
What a southern 1950s, 60s name.
Oh, yeah.
He decided he'd support prejudice over justice in a twofold way. First, he ignored the ruling of the highest courts of the land.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing that happens. And as an executive tasked with carrying out the laws upholding the Constitution.
Yeah.
He overrode
it. Oh, yeah.
Secondly, he declared to the white folks of Mississippi that, quote, no school will be integrated in Mississippi while I am your governor. Now, to me, that's a challenge accepted moment.
That's nullification.
Yeah.
Right there. You know, the last time anybody tried doing that, it ended badly.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended badly for everybody, but it especially ended badly for the idiot Peckerwoods who tried to nullify.
Yes.
We had a whole war.
Yeah. Everyone showed up.
Everybody, yeah. We had a series of episodes about that war.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, white people in Mississippi, though, were like, yeah, that's a ringing affirmation of white supremacy and therefore the law of the land.
Yeah.
So the state legislature in Mississippi then passed laws to make an end around to Meredith being accepted. Well, sure, you can accept him, but it doesn't mean he gets to go. And it's some serious ex post facto bullshit tied to voter registration laws and voter fraud. Yeah, that should echo a little.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe not echo, but rhyme.
Yeah.
I'd say it rhymes.
Yep. So it took Robert F. Kennedy, the
Bobby,
Attorney General,
of the United States,
several secret phone calls and secret face-saving plans to coddle the white fragile racists like the governor to let Meredith attend a school, which his own taxes helped fund, which he got the GI Bill to get to go to school. Mm-hmm. So he matriculates in the fall. It happens. White people in Mississippi were totally won over, stopped being racist.
No wait.
Okay, fine. It's funny because it even says no wait in my notes.
Yeah.
That should read that they rioted, burned cars, and objected to all the protection that Meredith had from the federal government.
Well, yeah, because when the federal government steps in to do something they don't like,
right?
It's tyranny and the war of Yankee aggression all over again. Mm-hmm. When the federal government doesn't step in to protect their fragile identitarian issues, it's a failure of government to respect the values of proper voters or whatever
and governance.
Yeah.
So there's this man named Edwin Walker, who he's a racist firebrand veteran, and he took to the radio and said, here's a fun quote: "Mississippi, it is time to move. We have talked, listened, and been pushed around far too much by the Antichrist Supreme Court." That was Ed's hand meeting his head. "Rise to a stand beside Governor Ross Barnett at Jackson, Mississippi. Now is the time to be heard. Thousands strong from every state in the Union. Rally to the cause of freedom."
Wait. Wait.
Yeah.
This jackhole is framing this as a freedom issue.
Yeah. Oh.
They're keeping a dude from attending a university,
a public university,
I was about to say a university he has literally paid to support out of his tax dollars.
Yes.
And these Neanderthal jughead morons are trying to frame this one in particular jughead Neanderthal moron. Jughead, not jarhead. I have nothing against Marines. I want to make that very clear. But this bucket-headed pimple is trying to claim this is a freedom issue?
But he's on the radio, so it's okay.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes on, quote, "The battle cry of the Republic."
What? No. Oh. Sit down. Shut up. You're canceled. Fuck you. No, I'm sorry. We sang that while we were kicking your asses. You don't get that.
You're going to like this.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Barnett, yes. Castro, no.
How are you conflating?
Because Castro's a communist, and black people must like communism. Therefore, yeah.
But
yeah,
that's a non sequitur.
No, Castro.
It doesn't have anything to fucking do.
This is communism. It is un-American to get in the way of our freedom to restrict people's freedoms.
To get in the way of our freedom to be racist Peckerwood jackasses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quote,
you know what? You could be a racist Peckerwood jackass. You just can't actually, prevent somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Quote, bring your flag, your tent, and your skillet. It's now or never. The time is when the President of the United States commits or uses any troops, federal or state, in Mississippi. The last time in such a situation, I was on the wrong side. That was in Little Rock, Arkansas, 1957 and 1958. This time, out of uniform, I am on the right side. I will be there.
And I hope you get bayoneted, you fuckwit.
I would just like to point out, he was in uniform, or he's claiming.
Yeah.
So he was a veteran, so he's claiming that he served in Little Rock. I couldn't find any record either way.
Okay. It'd be interesting to try to find a DD-214 to see if he was part of the 101st Airborne.
So, totally reasonable stuff happening surrounding young people of color in the country. Very reasonable. Whose only infraction was daring to think that they were entitled to the same rights as citizens as white people. I don't see why this is such a problem. The governor also stoked the fires, despite the fact that he had his secret deals with RFK. He's an elected official sworn to uphold the Constitution, I might add. And he said this after he signed off on Meredith's enrollment into Ole Miss.
Oh, no.
Quote, gentlemen, you are trampling on the sovereignty of this great state and depriving it of every vestige of honor and respect as a member of the United States. You are destroying the Constitution of the United States. May God have mercy on your souls.
Okay, wait, no. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to parse that for a second.
Okay.
Because this Neanderthal, and this is an insult, by the way, to our Neanderthal ancestors.
Believe me, I know.
I
am one.
But this Australopithecine Nimrod.
Yep.
Is first off. We talked about this.
Yes.
He's invoking honor.
Yes.
Which is directly taken out a lost cause ideology.
Oh, absolutely.
We fought honorably. So did they. You fought the same goddamn war. Stand up, show the breast.
Right.
Fall down.
Yep.
Or not. That was the way the war was fought. Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
But we fought with honor. They fought with money. Whatever. They had more of it. Get over it.
You were fighting for someone else's ability to make
and by the way, die mad about it, which they did. And that makes me so happy on cold nights. But so he starts with this invocation of honor, which is such lost cause bullshit. It makes one's head spin. And then he turns around and has the unmitigated audacity, to paraphrase Frank Zappa, to invoke the Constitution.
Yes.
And try to say that they are destroying the Constitution, the 14th Amendment of which is supposed to protect
due process
and the rights of everybody.
Yes.
Under the law.
Yes. What's your point?
My fury is incandescent, sir. That's my point.
Okay.
We have lamented to one another, usually outside the podcast, but we've made snarky remarks
on it
to this effect that we're now living in a post-facts political environment.
You mean a time where people lie?
Well, yeah, and that fake news, air quotes, is
you mean lies?
Yeah, lies. But the fact that our current president gets away with just pulling random garbage out of his fundament and flinging it and not getting sufficiently called on it.
Yes.
And we have lamented that, oh my God, what kind of era are we living in? In a way, it's almost oddly comforting to find out that no, racist jackholes have been doing this shit for years.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say it's comforting from a symmetry perspective. I don't know that it's comforting for marginalized peoples.
Well, I said almost comforting. Yeah. I mean, from the point of view of no, the world has just always sucked.
Yeah.
And it's not that this is any new, intensification of this problem. It's, there's a certain weird kind of fatalistic comfort in that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're canceled. Sit down. Shut up.
Please die.
Let the other people talk. Die in a fire.
Yeah.
Die in a fire. Mad about it.
Yeah.
To combine.
Yeah. That you set.
Yeah.
And it just went the wrong way on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that guy, the synagogue guy. Yeah.
This isn't going to age well, and yet, sadly, it probably will.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, sorry, I've had my segue for So carry on.
So the hate and vitriol with which both of these things were met. And, of course, there were people who were hateful on, only really one side, because the other side was just trying to go to college. But I can't both sides this.
Yeah, no, you can't. This is not an issue that can be both sided. No. There is a very clear moral imperative here.
Yes.
And there is one side that is trying to act according to it, and there's another side that is actively impeding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Right.
No.
So why can't they meet in the middle?
Because there is no goddamn middle. And I know that you're just saying this to get the obvious response out of me, but I still have to say it. There is no middle here.
That's true.
Now, it should be pointed out, of course, that the two of us are Californian liberal leaning.
Yeah.
You farther than me, but product of the generation that was born after all of this happened.
Right.
So, the mindset and the worldview of people who looked like us living in that part of the country at that time was such that whatever mental gymnastics they had to go through to justify it was necessary because it was their whole paradigm.
Yes.
Which doesn't make it right, but helps with the understanding of how the hell could you be that bass-ackward?
Yes.
So... Anyway, carrying on.
So, yeah, all of this kind of overwrought language kind of...
Wait, are you talking about mine or theirs?
Theirs.
Okay.
May God have mercy on your souls. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's...
Well, that's again, straight out of...
Oh, yeah.
A Lost Cause. Anything is, high melodrama.
Yeah. So, it sets a really good background where comic books having an overwrought language...
Yeah.
Didn't seem so overwrought at the time. It normalized it.
Okay.
So other things that happened the year the X-Men came out, Wallace was elected governor of Alabama.
Yeah.
You know where he was inaugurated? The very spot where Jefferson Davis was sworn in as president of the CSA.
Okay, hold on.
Sure.
I want to clarify something. Do we know, did he choose that spot as
yes.
I want it... Really?
Yes.
It wasn't just they both happened on the front of the Capitol steps or something?
No, and here's why. Here's this quote.
Oh, no.
In the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this earth, I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
Right. Yeah, I remember that quote, but I hadn't realized that he actually said that from the same spot where
on Inauguration Day.
Jefferson, traitor to the country,
Peckerwood
Davis had... Okay. Wow, I didn't think I could think less of George Wallace, and now I do.
So, here's more. That June, George Wallace, now governor, stands in the door of the University of Alabama to protest desegregation, forcing the National Guard to remove him from that spot. And he later said, quote, "The president wants us to surrender this state to Martin Luther King and his group of pro-communists who have instituted these demonstrations."
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Surrender the state.
Yeah.
To specifically Martin Luther King.
And his pro-communists.
His group of pro-communists.
Yes. Who have instituted.
Yeah, who have just started this whole fight.
Yeah.
They've just started this whole conflict, because they just want to upend everything and just cause trouble. They're just a bunch of troublemakers.
Yep.
God, these people suck.
Also,
I mean, it's George Wallace,
yeah.
so I mean, obviously, but
in 1963 August, King gives his "I Have a Dream" speech.
Yeah,
and it's considered one of the most famous speeches of modern history. And it has the lines, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but
by the content of their character.
I have a dream today."
Yeah.
And rhetorically, it's really cool. Interestingly to me, though, he'd planned his speech to be a sweeping metaphor based on promissory notes. And you can still hear that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he goes off script and actually inspires folks.
Yeah.
But I love this promissory note, bank statement kind of...
interest coming due.
Yeah.
Debts being paid.
But it was falling really flat.
Yeah.
So he ad-libbed and improvised with a far better result. Lots of rhetorical flash and flourish, cool uses of anaphora.
It's one of it's
yeah.
It is all the more impressive for being something that he wound up throwing together out of parts of other stuff that he'd said previously. I mean,
and also he's a pastor with a PhD in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you go back and read Daniel 2, it's
yes.
Flat places made crooked,
crooked places made straight.
Flat places made tall places made
tall
it's
places
been a while.
made flat. Yeah,
but yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Less than a month later, in September, the KKK sets off a bomb in a church, killing 4 black girls, aged 14 and under, in what King called, quote, one of the most vicious and tragic crimes ever perpetrated against humanity. He was not wrong.
Not wrong.
Wallace suggested a curfew for black people.
Right, because, for their own safety.
Within the week, 2 black young men were shot and killed. Johnny Robinson, age 16, was shot by a police officer for running away from him. Virgil Ware, age 13, about 16 miles from Birmingham, was shot by a 16-year-old on a bicycle coming home from an anti-integration rally.
Lovely.
History rhymes.
Yeah.
King sent Wallace a telegram.
Oh.
Love the Stones on this guy. He says, "The blood of 4 little children is on your hands. Your irresponsible and misguided actions have created in Birmingham and Alabama the atmosphere that has induced continued violence and now murder."
All right.
So this is the zeitgeist into which the X-Men are born. The Avengers were a really cool team doing cool stuff, mostly staying in New York, dealing with crime and cosmic threats. At one point, Thor stops some mobsters from stealing fur coats.
Cosmic threats.
Yeah, it's gross misallocation of resources.
Yeah.
Or misallocation of Rethorthith.
Oh. Thou liver-spotted poltroon. I've given up on Victorianisms, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having to go farther back into the linguistic lexicon and get Elizabethan on your ass. Oh my God.
Oh.
Rethorthith. Oh.
Sorry, did I hammer that home too hard?
Oh.
God. That was low-key funny.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Oh, then we're done. So the Fantastic Four had been to the moon and back a couple times by this point, actually.
Yes.
Most of their problems they dealt with were in the Yancey Street Gang, people who wanted to bone Sue Storm, Namor being faraway dictators, and Russians.
Yeah.
Well, of course, all the supervillain variety.
The big global level kind of threats.
Okay. The X-Men, they tackled the idea of being an outsider in society and how to address that almost from the beginning. And here's the thing. It was an accident.
Really?
Yeah, Stan Lee had, if you think about all the heroes I'd listed, almost all of them were brought about by radiation of some sort.
Okay, yes.
Which, again, in the 60s, it makes total sense.
Huge,
right?
Yeah, well, it was what everybody was afraid of. It was the underlying subconscious fear.
Exactly. And beyond radiation, it was technological marvelousness. Okay?
Yeah.
So you had the PIM particles in pill form.
Yeah.
And you had Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't want a whole team being radiated again.
That's fair enough.
So here's a quote from him. I couldn't have everyone bitten by a radioactive spider or zapped with gamma rays, and it occurred to me that if I just said that they were mutants, it would make it easy. Then it occurred to me that instead of them just being heroes that everybody admired, what if I made other people fear and suspect and actually hate them because they were different? I loved that idea. It not only made them different, but it was a good metaphor for what was happening with the civil rights movement in the country at the time.
Hey, Geek Nation, Ed here.
And Damian.
Damian,
Yeah.
you in the market for a new book?
What? You know what? I am.
All right, well, I got a series to recommend to you.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know what? I would love to read a book about like Irish folklore and Celtic folklore, but set in an urban setting in America. You got anything?
Wow, that's not at all artfully set up, but I do, as a matter of fact, have something for you. The American Fairy Tale Trilogy by Bishop O'Connell starts with The Stolen. Mm-hmm. The second volume is The Forgotten. The final volume is The Returned.
You'll remember the second volume later.
You punning son of a bitch. No, that's... The title is The Forgotten.
Which is fine, because I'm sure they could find it on Amazon and they would actually find the title without having to rely on your batty memory.
Good day, sir. And on that note, back to the show. Okay, so you said it wasn't on purpose,
right?
But it clearly was on his mind.
Yeah, though, here's the thing. Some of this is just him remembering himself being more woke later.
Okay,
he's looking back going, oh yeah, I totally, I was thinking about that all the time. But Marvel did pretty quickly start to deal with prejudice. So it clearly was in his head. It really was. But it was incidental to, I got to get these super kids' powers. How do I do it?
Okay.
So it was then like, well, we're here. Why don't we?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. It's still a white guy in New York putting into allegory what he imagines the problems of black people to be.
Yeah.
So it's wildly flawed. It's very one-dimensional at times, right? But I'm still going to give him all kinds of credit here because at least he's bringing it up.
Yeah.
And publishing it for kids to read. Knowing that kids in the South are going to be reading these comics and having these ideas work in an allegorical way, it's going to drip into their heads in ways that their parents will be unable to access.
It'll be sub rosa. Mm-hmm. It'll get past whatever editing or censoring might happen because, after all, it's just comic books, and who can take those seriously?
Right.
Same way any kind of drawn medium in our culture gets treated. It's the
which is funny,
children's kids ghetto.
That's in many ways why the CC was created.
Yeah,
the comic book code was created was because oh god, we don't know what these kids are reading.
Yeah, so we're not taking any of this seriously, but oh my god, we have to take this seriously. Right. It's that weird.
And then they fixed it and walked away, and then people got in.
And everybody went
social justice.
Okay, so wait, what are the exact rules? Okay, so the rules don't say I can't do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, to me, the brilliance was that he didn't paint the mutants all as one thing, either. And this is brilliant for two reasons. Number one, it allows him to hold up a mirror to society, which is something that all literature does, as we've said from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it allows him to do so in a safe way. If your chief bad guy is also a mutant, we can walk away not feeling chastised if we don't want to be challenged by his art.
Okay.
And this is important for mass appeal, which is what a comic book is aimed at in 1963.
Yeah.
Also, it allows him to look at how non-universal the oppressed experience is.
Okay.
Okay. So you have
walk me through what precisely you mean by that.
Sure. So everybody understands what it's like to be Peter Parker.
Okay.
Everybody's been an awkward teenager.
Okay.
A mutant's problem is that they're born that way, and not everybody has a problem that they're born with.
Okay.
It's not a stage that we all go through.
Okay. Understood.
And therefore, anybody who reads about the X-Men, I mean, it's cool that Cyclops is shooting rays from his eyes, and that Jean Grey's using telekinesis, and that the Beast is flippy.
Yeah.
Those things are cool, and Angel has wings, and Iceman, to me, is the coolest of them all.
But
all those things are neat.
Yeah.
But also they're hated for who they are, which is not something that everybody would get, and yet they're being exposed to it.
Okay.
So it's not a universal experience, but now it's being universalized.
Okay.
So you have a group of people who are feared and therefore hated because of their difference from the group. Okay. You have a group of people with differing views on how to countenance that oppression, by the way. Some choose integration to prove that they're not different enough from the other group to warrant this treatment, and some choose segregation, citing safety over inclusion.
Okay.
Some choose to rise up and dominate, citing that you'll never truly be safe if people want to hurt you, and some choose not to back down when it comes to defending themselves in their own dignity, and they establish their own rights as persons by any means necessary.
Nice.
Thank you. And that's
way to get that in there.
Yeah. That's the big point of the X-Men. It's a white guy's understanding of what black male civil rights leaders and activists thought. He's not consulting Diane Nash at all.
Well, no.
And he's trying to...
Well, because in the 1960s, as we've noted in previous episodes...
Women didn't exist.
Women, to the people who were writing this stuff, that was outside of their frame of reference.
Right.
And yeah.
But...
Yeah.
He's trying to bend that understanding into storytelling that is palatable to kids. And keep in mind, it's a comic book in the 1960s. Yeah. It is not a polemic. It is not anything other than colorful paper.
Yes.
In so many ways. It's not an academic paper. It's not trying to be the final word on why racism's bad. It's a comic book. Now, as an artifact of its time, X-Men is pretty rad. So, I want to look at the two leaders of the good guys and the bad guys in the X-Men. Okay? You've got two male leaders in 1963 grabbing the spotlight in New York. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Now, Stanley is working in New York. So what's going to be in the New York Times, what's going to be on the lips of everybody, what's going to be in the general zeitgeist is these two guys. Martin Luther King's doing his stuff all throughout the South, but you can't help but get headlines. Yeah. Malcolm X is very New York specific.
Yes.
So he's writing about Professor X and Magneto right from the beginning. Professor X wants mutants and humans to live side by side as equals.
Yes.
Magneto wants to separate, and therefore, by extension of that, to dominate.
Yes.
Okay, now,
question.
Sure.
How early on in the nascent beginnings of the X-Men do we find out the backstory of Magneto being a survivor of the Holocaust?
That gets retconned, I want to say, in the 80s or 90s.
Really? It's that late?
Yeah.
Okay.
Prior to that, he is just evil.
He is just
he's evil with a point.
He's a mutant separatist.
Yep. And separatism must be bad because they're doing it on their own terms.
Well-intentioned extremist.
Not even
well-intentioned,
straight
but
up
just
trying to be evil.
massive extremist. Okay.
But his methodology is very similar to what's being seen as a fringe thing.
Yeah.
Now, he's also dressed almost entirely in orange. He's got purple piping.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this signifies a couple things, right?
Yeah.
Orange.
Purple, I remember.
Yes.
Purple signifies royalty, leadership, power, dominion. And orange, if I remember correctly, is mental imbalance.
Yes.
So in his case, I'm going to try to get Jungian on this. That imbalance is the urge to dominate and fanaticism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So anything that he does is colored by...
paying attention.
Well done.
Aha.
Well done. Anything he does is colored by his insanity.
Okay.
Clearly, he's insane if he wants to dominate everyone. That's not what a good American would do. That's not what a good hero would do. It's not what a good... That's not what one of the good ones would do.
Ooh.
Yeah. And like you said, he wears purple trim, right?
Yeah.
Which he sees himself as a leader, a ruler, right? Either at the time or in the future, right? It also... Purple and orange contrast very nicely with yellow and blue.
Okay.
And that's what the X-Men
makes sense. That's the X-Men. Now, blue was self-sacrifice.
They might be, but moral rightness.
Moral righteousness. And then gold, again, is leadership.
Gold is, but yellow is for lesser-powered individuals and or sidekicks. So you have a whole team
who are all together collectively wearing yellow.
To fight
None
the
of
big
them.
Bad one.
Yes. So they're that's symbolic of them kind of being underdogs in that fight against Magneto.
Yeah, and what we can do together.
Okay. All right.
Versus separatism. Now, if you remember your comic book...
See, it could also be taken to mean that Professor X is the real leader of the whole operation and they're all his minions.
Could be. Yeah, that's also... Yeah. He has an interesting color scheme, too, though, because there's some green going on with him, but it's the more natural green.
Yeah.
He's also handicapped.
Yeah.
And he... again, Stanley, not a handicapped individual. Able-bodied.
Yeah.
So trying to write for what he assumed was what handicapped people thought.
Yeah.
Wrote some really problematic shit early on.
Yeah, well, yes. Profoundly, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
So if you remember your comic book code, right? Anyone who's against the status quo cannot prevail.
Oh, right, yeah. Status quo is God.
Therefore, they must be a bad guy. Well, since the status quo is racist as fuck, right? Someone against that, even in regards to mutants and mutinous, has to be the bad guy.
Okay.
So now,
so you can be against it, the institutional racism, the oppression, whatever, like Professor X, and still be a good guy. But it is acting upon being against it and looking and seeking to overthrow it.
Yes. Because you're now an agent of chaos.
You're now an agent of chaos and disorder.
Dionysian.
Rather than trying to work within the system and integrate. All right.
So this feeds into the narrative that there are good ones and bad ones.
Which is kind of profoundly unfortunate, actually. Yeah.
A good one wants to be a part of the status quo.
And
and they'll seek to prove themselves as worthy of such.
Yeah,
based on the values that are already in place.
Yeah, based on the values of the majority.
They'll also fight to protect
dominant culture,
even to protect those who would do them harm.
Well, yeah.
There's that wearing blue thing.
Yeah.
A bad one rejects all that. A bad one in comics means that by extension they're going to try to take over the world. Well,
because melodrama. I mean, come on.
Again, it's a comic book.
It's a convention of the genre.
Yeah, absolutely. The bad ones ruin it for everyone else.
Well, yeah.
Remember that Wallace quote?
Oh, Lord.
The president wants us to surrender this state to Martin Luther King and his group of pro-communists who have instituted these demonstrations. If it weren't for the bad ones, the good ones wouldn't have a problem here in Alabama. Remember that JFK condemned...
They wouldn't be allowed to go to college, you shitheel.
Right, so they wouldn't have
a problem.
Right? Because if you learn, then there's problems. Okay. Remember JFK condemned the Freedom Riders as unpatriotic?
I know.
Thank God we've changed, and no one's been blackballed from his profession for choosing to make a public and unavoidable objection to oppression of his community, getting called unpatriotic and mean to the troops for such an objection while ignoring the actual substance of that objection on the thought that went into it.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Now I've seen people decorating their lawns with the Betsy Ross flag on purpose. Never before.
Yeah.
But then when...
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
what a weird coincidence that was.
Yeah, what a weird
just so weird.
Yeah, so weird. Yeah. And it should be pointed out, Betsy Ross was a Quaker and an abolitionist and like... Okay. So, sorry. Anyway, moving on.
And the army that she sewed a flag for broke its promises to slaves who fought.
Yes.
So,
no denying any. So,
now to the fun stuff.
Okay.
Stan Lee was pulling straight from the headlines to make his characters echo the culture of their times, the best that he knew how, right? So Professor X was Martin Luther King and Booker T. Washington rolled into one.
Okay.
Because Professor X rolled everywhere.
Carry on. I'm not even gonna. Okay. I'm gonna keep on trucking.
He wanted full inclusion and understanding.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be peaceful, but conscious choice on the part of humans. They have to choose to want us, but it needs to be peacefully done.
Okay.
He figured mutants would have to prove it to them, but he had faith that they'd accept it once they were shown the rightness of it, and he wants mutants to prove themselves worthy of the inclusion and trust by constantly bettering themselves. The talented 10th.
Yeah.
Wait, that's Du Bois. But it's the Booker T. Washington.
And I'm trying to remember the term, but there was a group of...
it's Tuskegee.
Yeah, well, it's Tuskegee. Yeah. It's... in the U.S. Navy, there was a particular group that was the Golden... I want to say it was the Golden 12, who were the first commissioned African-American officers.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to look it up now because I read about it and I remember that it happened, but I don't remember the details.
Next episode, because I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So here is Professor X talking. I was born of parents who had worked on the first A-bomb project.
Oh.
Which is weird, because he's bald and it's 1963.
Yeah.
There's some time compression going on there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like yourselves, I am a mutant, possibly the first such mutant. I have the power to read
minds.
That
got retconned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the power to read minds and to project my own thoughts into the brains of others. But when I was young, normal people feared me, distrusted me. I realized the human race is not yet ready to accept those with extra powers, so I decided to build a haven, a school for X-Men. Now, we're going to unpack that a little, but I would point out to you that, I'll just get to it. The first bit is standard exposition of every comic, right? Remember, every issue might be a kid's first issue, so there's that.
Yeah.
Right? But then, quote, normal people feared me. So just that phrase means that he acknowledges he's not normal.
He has internalized
the oppression. Now,
the idea of...
Keep in mind the times, it's 1960.
Yeah.
Okay? But already he's defining himself as different according to the status quo standards.
Yes.
Mutants aren't normal, and I want to come back to this when you take over and talk about gay rights.
Yeah.
Secondly, I realize that the human race is not yet ready to accept those with extra powers. Yeah, Chuck, they are. Actually, all right. Captain America, the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Captain America was done on purpose.
Yeah.
That was government healthcare.
You've made that argument before.
I have. I really do need to do that.
We got to find a way to put that together.
The Fantastic Four was by accident.
The ultimate FDR WPA project.
Yeah,
Captain America.
100%.
The embodiment of the New Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Man did it to himself. The Wasp was popping pills for it. Ant-Man was popping pills for it. Thor was an alien who, by the way...
Yeah, but Thor... Thor had an alter ego.
He did.
You're
right.
And it was a weird... I mean, at the beginning of Thor's canon...
This is why I don't
really
go with Thor
strange.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think... The difference in defense of Prof. Chuck, I think the issue is just even the very word mutant.
Yeah,
has the connotation.
Well, it comes from the Latin muto mutare, which is to change.
To change.
Yeah.
And so there's this connotation of uncleanliness. There's this connotation
perversion
of perversion or twisting or something like that.
Absolutely.
And when somebody within the American paradigm, when somebody builds a suit to make himself super strong and bulletproof, that is living up to what it is that is striving. That is trying. The PIM particles.
And in the 1960s, medicine and technology
were the big deal.
Are going to save us.
Were the big deal. Yep. And whereas being innately other
and innately
is a different thing
in a way that makes the quote normal people feel inadequate too.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not something that they can achieve.
Right.
You can look at Iron Man and you can go, well, you give me a box of scraps in a cave, I can do that.
Right.
Only I'm not Tony Stark.
Right. But you could see how to get.
But you can see how to go from point A to point B.
Yep.
Whereas the X-Men all started at point D, and then went from there.
So they were born on third.
Yeah.
And now the normal folks are pissed that they're seeing someone else's privilege.
Yeah, there could be a whole unpacking of the idea of privilege going on there, but but of course that wouldn't even occur to anody back in '63 because that's something people are still arguing over about today.
You could even argue that the Hulk was more normal because their objection wasn't his powers; it was his attitude.
Yeah, yeah, it was his antisocial nature.
Yeah, so. They just don't accept that people were born that way as a valid avenue to power, like you were saying, right? Third, a school for X-Men. I'll just point out Tuskegee again. Enough said.
Okay.
Professor X seeks...
I'd go off on a tangent about, elitism, and, you want to integrate everybody, but you're separating them off into this private school environment like, Hogwarts for superheroes.
But he's teaching them how to pass in dominant society.
True.
In so doing.
True,
Yeah.
but he's also inculcating into them the idea that they're a cadre of the specials. Mm-hmm. So there's this weird push-pull between we want to assimilate, but we're also this elite.
Now you see why
group.
racists argue vociferously against historical black colleges.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Black Entertainment Channel.
Yeah.
Or. Like, anytime somebody carves something out for themselves, since they're not allowed elsewhere, then everybody's like, well, you're the real racists.
Yeah.
You have that specific thing.
Why do you have to have a gaming night for just women?
Right.
Well, because too many
Your
gamer
dicks to women.
dudes are jackasses.
Well, how come you get all these walls built around your city? You made a ghetto.
You literally
boxed us in.
And you're the one who laid the bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, just throwing that out there. But yeah.
So, Professor X seeks greater justice, and he seeks that as a means to an end, because that's what's going to liberate humans from their hatred of mutants. So he, the oppressed...
He is doing a favor for the dominant culture by liberating them from their own toxicity.
Yes.
Wow. That actually manages to bring up magical minority stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Tropes are tropes for a reason.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, people are like, no, I'm not going to both be oppressed by you and save you from your own twisted thinking that got me here.
You educate yourself.
Exactly.
I'm out. Yeah.
Come see me when you're ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that liberation from hatred is going to result in human acceptance of mutant equality, right? The way to help liberate the oppressors from their flawed worldview, bless their hearts, is to...
one of those phrases out of Southern culture that I think makes some parts of Southern culture worth keeping around. Oh, bless his heart.
Right.
You know, I try to remember which comic it was. I want to say it was Jeff Foxworthy, but I could be wrong. You can say anything you want to about somebody if you follow it up with bless his heart.
I always say bless your heart in a non-Texas way.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So here's how you can liberate the oppressors. You can save the oppressors from their poor thinking if you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and together we shall overcome.
Okay, I think because of course Martin Luther King Jr. Was inspired by Mohandas Gandhi, and I think it's interesting.
Was inspired by Thoreau.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gandhi expressed it a lot better than Thoreau, but that's just my opinion.
No, I'm with you.
But Gandhi, I think, had a clearer-eyed, and again, this is an artifact of Lee being a member of the dominant culture, trying to imagine the mindset of somebody trying to work against the dominant culture.
Sure.
Because, Gandhi, and I know also King, but for some reason, thinking about liberating people from their own toxicity sounds very Hindu, Buddhist kind of, that kind of worldview. And I don't think that would be anything that Gandhi would have ever actually said. Because, his whole take was, no, look, we're going to make them face how violent this is, and we're going to count on the fact that they are not completely monstrous. It's worth noting that in later years, Gandhi said, no, nonviolent resistance wouldn't have worked against the Nazis.
Right.
Because they'd have just killed us all, and they didn't have the moral compunction not to do that.
Gandhi had the good luck of dealing with the British.
Yeah.
Which is a really hard sentence to say.
But
it's true.
But it is
right
it is in fact true.
Yeah.
That very, very English, very, there's a right and proper way to do things. The very idea of noblesse oblige.
Yeah.
He basically, nonviolent resistance shows if you're not actually behaving in a manner befitting noblesse oblige, it really makes it hard for you to justify what you're doing.
Yes.
And the Nazis didn't have that problem.
No.
They had a really massive solution, but they didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway.
Speaking of rhyming.
Gandhi and I think King probably would have said to Lee, you're throwing a lot of messianic pressure on Chuck here. Maybe think a little about that.
Again,
but
a product of where he was and what he was doing. Now, here's a wonderful quote from Professor X. Not all of them want to help mankind. He's talking about mutants. Some hate the human race and wish to destroy it. Some feel that mutants should be the real rulers of Earth. It is our job to protect mankind from the evil mutants. There's good ones.
And there's bad ones. And it should also be pointed out that Magneto led the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Like, it was in their name.
It was. Now, it gets retconned later as a sardonic title. Like, you're going to call us that, we might as well.
If you're going to call us monsters, then monsters we shall be.
Exactly.
But, no, in 63, 64, it was, no, we are the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Because that way you could defeat them page 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, Comic Code Authority.
You got to do it. So, now I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
Because then we're going to get next time into a lot of what Stan Lee wrote at the back of his comics called Stan Lee's Soapbox.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some beautiful, beautiful things that he has there. And it's going to be quote heavy next time.
Okay.
But so far, we've talked about the X-Men for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And racism in the South for the other 45. Is there any takeaway?
I'd say it was racism generally, but most intensely in the South.
Yeah.
Well, the takeaway as anytime we get discussing, and this is one of the, we haven't actually talked about comic books in this context that much in the series yet. But when we talk about it, the two of us, without the microphone here, one of the things that keeps coming up is all these damn SJWs trying to insert all this liberal bullshit into my comics. I just want to read. I just want to read comics. And from the get-go,
they've been.
It's like, you know what? He figured out really quickly. The writers and Lee and the artists, everybody involved figured out real quick. You know what? This is an allegory. We're gonna run with it.
Yes.
Like, we're picking up this ball and we're flinging it down the field.
And I've got a beautiful quote on that. For next time.
Yeah, and I mean, the other classic example is Cap punching Hitler in the face on the cover of the first issue of Captain America,
which came out 6 months before we declared war.
Yes.
On the Nazis.
Yes. So get away from me with your I just want to read comics, don't give me your politics. Yeah. They have always been political.
The people who always say that are huge Punisher fans. Which I find interesting that they think that that's apolitical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, they're immune to subtext.
Yeah.
Or text in many cases. So how about you?
I forgot how volatile the early 60s were and how entrenched the mainstream was. And frankly, finding these quotes was disheartening as fuck because they're so...
Well, it's literally a century after secession.
Yeah.
And it's the same shit over again.
It's literally 50 plus years ago, and it's the same shit all over again. Like, I'm hearing the same... Like, there's this scene in Tron.
Yeah.
The movie Tron with Jeff... The first one with Jeff Bridges, right? Yeah. And Bruce Boxlight and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where he's talking about... Oh, and David Warner, of course. And he's talking about how, I forget Sark's boss's name, like his maker, but Dillinger maybe. And
something like Dillinger.
Yeah, Dylan. Well, anyway,
Deckinger. It started with a D. Anyway,
so he says that the guy took all of his ideas for making video games.
Yeah.
And he has this quote, and he says, "The creep didn't even bother to change the name."
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. Like, our racists today haven't even bothered to code their language anymore. Well, like, they don't even have the decency to be hypocritical.
Do you really? Okay, I totally get the frustration.
Maybe work for it.
Yeah, maybe work for it a little bit. But here's the thing: do you really expect anybody with that level of intellect?
Yeah.
To even try to be original. I mean,
you're not wrong.
The only thing that's changed is that the guys nowadays, the smarter of them have better haircuts and they started out anyway. Spencer is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Trying to say, well, we're not advocating any kind of violence. We just think, white people ought to have our own homeland.
Right.
And like, okay, stop, back up. If we analyze the logic, ultimately you are calling for people to be kicked out of wherever they live. You're talking about ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
And the fact that that's, non-violent in, air quotes,
right,
doesn't make it any less what it is, and you're still a prick and a Nazi, and you deserve not only to get punched the way you did, but to have it happen repeatedly.
I guess my problem is that it's elected officials that haven't gotten any more original.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my takeaway is I'm depressed and I want to eat chocolate. So
fair enough.
Yeah. Tell you what, why don't we do this? I'm going to recommend that people read the X-Men from the very beginning.
Okay.
From the first issues. And
I can support this.
The first 24 issues. Run through those. Get yourself the app, whether it's the Amazon app or the Marvel Ultimate whatever app. Read the first 24 issues of the X-Men. That's my reading suggestion for this week.
Okay.
What's yours?
I'm trying to think of what I'm reading this week. I'm going to recommend the works of a very good friend of mine, Bishop O'Connell. The American Fairy Tale series. It's modern urban fantasy, but it has a very strong tie to fairy legend and Celtic myth.
Nice.
And folklore. And I think at some point I may try to get him in here for an interview.
That sounds great.
And it's not directly tied to what we're talking about here, but it is what I have on my mind right now in terms of reading. And so I'm going to recommend that very strongly for now.
That one's for free. Cool. All right. Well, we will catch you all in the next episode.
Indeed.
But in the meantime, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And make sure to not let anybody pull the adamantium out of your skeleton in the meantime.